Fools who laugh at death. Do you know what horrors lie beyond that wall?
No.
Then you go first.
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let our voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Yeah. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Yeah. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, ThirstTrap. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, ThirstTrap.
Welcome one and all. Welcome everyone to another episode of Clickbaity, Political Thirst Trap. I am your host tonight, Marcus Farrell. Mondale is out of the building. He's doing a little traveling. I'll be doing traveling later on this week also, so we'll be in and out, but we're still going to provide you some nice stuff. Welcome to another episode of Clickbaity, Political Thirst Trap. Ladies, gentlemen, non-gender conforming individuals, you are now rocking with the best. You're now rocking with the Trap Squad. You're now rocking with Clickbaity, Political Thirst Trap, where we bring you informed opinions from black men. Tonight, you are chilling out with one black man who is extra happy because, last night I got to see something special. I got to see Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley Brothers on their verses. Thank God for Timberland. Thank God for Thank God for what's the other brother's name that's running versus Swiss Beats. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for putting that show on last night, because that was for the culture. Now, in my personal opinion, I think Ozzy Brothers won. Only because their catalog just to me just rocks a little bit harder than Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. Earth, Wind, and Fire is a bad band. But I've been hearing all these conversations today about how they kicked the Ozzy Brothers. And I'm sorry, but whenever you have a group that can sing a song like Atlantis and groove with you, and Between the Sheets, that wins your battle. I'm sorry, that wins your battle. Now Shining Star is dope, and a lot of other things were dope, but that was just amazing. Anyway, shout out to both groups. Shout out to everybody who watched. That was definitely a cognac slash scotch slash Hennessy slash whiskey type of event. That was a Black and Mild event. If you didn't have a real cigar, that was a Black and Mild event. Your uncle was watching that. Even your white uncle was watching that. Well, unless he's a KKK kind of guy. But even your white uncles are smoking the Black and Mild of that one, talking about I was thinking about this girl back in the day. Looking all good and stuff. You see Steve Harvey? Steve Harvey get on my goddamn nerves, though. I'll tell you that much right now. Steve Harvey get on my nerves. Oh, all the ladies, but he was funny. I do appreciate some of the stuff, man. And he be clean as hell, but man, he was like, man, you making this thing all about you. Let these people sing, man. All the ladies. I mean, all the ladies right now. Let me tell you something. 80-year-old dude, 70-year-old dude in them ladies' inboxes after last night around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, they would have been like, I know I had you on scene. You know, left them on scene for a while, and the old man gonna be like, well, I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna come through. I want you to come through tonight. Cause, you know, Ron Isley was looking good last night. He made them white beards look good. Where's Mondale at when you need him? I had a good time this weekend. I went to the Selfie Museum. Dwayne, you got some pictures? I'm about to pick on myself real quick. Yeah, I'm about to pick on. I went to the Selfie Museum this weekend. You can see in my profile picture. Some of y'all follow me on Instagram. I went to the Selfie Museum and took some, looking like a fat ass Andre 3000. Show the picture, Dwayne. Looking like a fat ass Andre 3000. I was having a good time, man. That was having a good time. Looking like a broke ass pimp. Hey, but check out the shoes though. Check out the shoes.
That's the one.
I'm talking about the shoes had flowers in them. It was flowers on flowers on flowers. You know what I mean? Somebody called me a broke Easter bunny. They wouldn't let me in church. I look like a walking cigar. I look like a big fat one. With a velvet coat on, man. I was about to burn my armpits walking around. Oh, thanks for all the compliments, folks, man. Thanks for all the compliments. I appreciate it. We had a good time this weekend, man. We had a good time. I figured I'd get on myself. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Figured I'd get on myself. And we got some things to talk about. We got some things to discuss tonight. And, you know, I mean, listen, the Republican Party is, hold on 1 second. Let me make sure that I'm in the right spot. Yeah, so the Republican Party. Well, first, let's go through the gauntlet real quick. Joe Manchin, bro, what's going on? Joe Manchin is at it again. And And I also think that Kirsten Sinema is at it again also, right? Joe Manchin is against the current infrastructure bill that the Biden administration is trying to implement. And with this infrastructure bill, you guys have to understand that. Did you find the article, Dwayne? If you find the article, let me know. If not, all right. And with this infrastructure bill, you guys have to understand, like, it's a lot of jobs that are going to come, right, to places like West Virginia. And what did he say? He said, because I want to make sure I get it right. Yeah, there you go. Oh, Joe Manchin. Manchin warns that Biden's infrastructure bill is in trouble over corporate tax hikes. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused right now because I'm not using my normal system. 1 second. Yo. Yeah. I look like a sad flower on those pictures, guys. Infrastructure, there you go. Via CNN, Joe Manchin, an influential Democrat, an influential centrist Democrat. I don't think we need to call him Democrat anymore. Here's why. Warned Monday that the Biden administration's massive infrastructure package can't pass in its current form because he and a handful of other Senate Democrats believe corporate tax hikes proposed in the bill are designed to offset costs are too steep. As the bill exists today, it needs to be changed, he told West Virginia Metro News. The host, Hoppy Kervichal, in a radio interview, when asked if he supported or opposed the President Joe Biden's $2.25 trillion proposal. Manchin said he's against raising the current 21% corporate tax rate, which was put in place by the 2017 tax overhaul under the Trump administration to 28%, and it's called for in the bill, and instead supports middle ground like 25, which he calls fair. All right, guys, let's just talk about Joe Manchin real quick. Joe Manchin is feeling himself way too much, and I get it. You're a U.S. senator and you're a white man, and I know it's white boy summer coming up here, right? But that 3% is going to do more for working class people, just that extra 3%. And you are just saying no to say no. Like, he's playing too many politics with people who ain't got time for it. America doesn't have time for it. I personally talked to someone who works in the Biden administration who actually called me up and said to me, Marcus, thank you for not giving us as hard of a time that I thought you were going to give us. I mean, I'm still going to give y'all a hard time, but I'm not as hard. Why? Because this right here has been the most progressive presidency that we ever seen. Now, is it still corporate neoliberal controlled? Absolutely. But I mean, we got to start keeping it honest about one thing, and that is he's actually trying to do some things. Maybe not enough, but he's actually trying to do some things. Now, would I like him to stop bombing places like Yemen? Yes. Would I like him to hurry up and do some kind of police overhaul? Yes. That deserves an executive order at this point. And if he don't hold these cops responsible, and if Derek Chauvin doesn't get put in jail, then you know what? He's going to have to sign some kind of executive order because this place is going poof. But Joe Manchin is a guy who at this point is, well, first I'll use because I'm trying to think a little like Mondale would think a little bit about this one, even though he's not here. But I will say this right here. Joe Manchin is doing what Democrats are supposed to do, and that's just say no, right? But if Biden is trying to go for 28%, Joe Manchin is trying to drop to 25%, who are you trying to please here? It's not the American people. It's corporations. And corporations are literally running politics. They've ran it for a while, but now it takes corporations to be pissed off for politicians to do something about anything, not you and I vote, not us as voters. They don't care about us as voters whatsoever. But if a corporation is pissed off about it, that's when they start talking about it. Got a couple examples. Let's think about Coca-Cola and the Major League Baseball Association. You know, Coca-Cola had a problem with the voter rights bill, and it's way too late. Like, you know, being based in Atlanta, Georgia, being a Georgia company, Coca-Cola had finally came out with a statement, and that's when politicians started taking action. Now, let's not get this twisted. Republicans can be very vindictive. They also got rid of a specific tax rate for Coca-Cola and for Delta, a tax plan for them that they had. They reversed them. They actually are charging them more in taxes now because they came out with a statement against the draconian voter ID law. You know, these guys, these corporations are running politics to the point where it's just sad and it's just corrupt, and I'm tired of it. I know it just sounds like a whack statement, but like, aren't we tired of like big companies and rich people getting just more and more tax breaks, more and more incentives, more and more robbing us completely, and then gaslighting the hell out of us, making us try to make us believe that they got our best interest in mind? Publix, the shopping chain, like, and one of my favorite shopping chains. Like, I love Publix. Their lemon pepper chicken is something to behold. Publix donated, I believe, $100,000 to the campaign of Ron DeSantis before they were given the exclusive rights of giving out the COVID vaccine by the state of Florida. You see how that works? And I got to tell you something, $100,000, I know it might seem like a lot, but $100,000 is not a lot of money to be buying a politician with. Y'all might think that, but $100,000 is not a lot of capital. We got that article?
Yep.
Is it in my inbox?
It will be in 15 seconds.
Yeah. And I mean, DeSantis, he's a Republican darling who everybody says is going to be the next Republican candidate for president. And that's what he's angling for, right? That's what he's angling for. And if you notice something about Florida, since Republicans won the state of Florida, you don't see as many draconian laws coming out of that place. Even though there's still some laws, you don't see as many because they already have done their damage in the state of Florida, trying to keep people from voting. Did you put it in Trello, Dwayne?
No, I just sent it to you.
Yeah, I don't got it. So these guys are basically buying politicians up left and right. And we got to figure out a better way. We got to figure out a better way to hold them accountable. And what interests me a lot is this whole new push for that. It's like the powers that be said, okay, we're going to like black people now. At least on its face, we're going to like black people right now. At least on its face. But the company of the American government, it kind of disagrees with it. The Republican Party is stuck on, they have no other ideology besides damage and racism. If you tell me about small government, Republicans believe in small government. Okay, well, get them governmental officials you call cops out of our neighborhoods, motherfuckers. No, we need that because of crime and this, that, and the other. It's funny how they only like small government when it comes down to them being able to rig elections, and then being able to make corporations richer and richer and richer. They don't pay their fair share in taxes. Let's get into this public story real quick. Publix was handed a vaccine distribution deal weeks after donating $100,000 to Governor Ron DeSantis' PAC, his political action committee. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis faces questions over, and this is via homepage, Business Insider. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis faces questions over a vaccine deal with the Publix grocery chain. CBS 60 Minutes reported that before the announcement, Publix donated $100,000 to DeSantis' PAC. DeSantis told 60 Minutes that any suggestion of pay-for-play partnership was a fake narrative. Okay. Don't believe your lying ass eyes, America. Don't believe your lying ass eyes, America. Don't believe what you just heard. No, we didn't just hear that they gave you $100,000 and you gave them an exclusive, probably one of the most important vaccines of human history. You gave them an exclusive contract. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis faces questions over his vaccine distribution partnership with the Publix grocery store chain, which donated a total of $100,000 to his political action committee. DeSantis refused to interview with 60 Minutes, but was confronted by a reporter about the timing of Publix donations at a press conference last month where the governor denied doing any wrongdoing. What you're saying is wrong. That's a fake narrative. Fake news, DeSantis said. I met with the county mayor. I met with the administrator. I met with all the folks in Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give to more hospitals, and we could do Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents. DeSantis announced on January 5th that Publix would distribute COVID-19 vaccines through their pharmacies, though it's unclear what the governor's personal role in the deal was. The chain receives almost 1 out of 4 Florida shots, according to local media. Wow, that's a lot of shots. That means Publix is responsible for making sure the health and safety of Floridians is taken care of. Now, I don't mind that, but how many of you guys really want another company dealing with our health care? The irresponsible suggestion that there was a connection between campaign contributions made Governor DeSantis and our willingness to join other pharmacies in support of the state's vaccine distribution efforts is absolutely false and offensive. We are proud of our pharmacy associates for administering over 1.5 million doses of vaccine to date and joining other retailers in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia to help do our part for communities to emerge from this pandemic, the statement read. When is DeSantis going to run for president? It's going to happen sometime soon. I wish Publix would just stick with their rotisserie chicken and their amazing benefits as a job, as a corporation. Got to give a shout out to Publix. They pay their people. But they obviously pay other people to make sure that they get kickbacks. It is what it is. On to another Republican, the last president of the United States of America. The Trump campaign reportedly forced to refund more than $122 million to donors. These guys are frauds. They're reckless, they're frauds, and they do things and he was doing things like this throughout. If you donated to the Trump campaign, usually when you donate to a campaign, right, like Act Blue or whatever, it gives you an option to become a recurring donor. Damn, I just got some bad news. It gives you an option to become a recurring donor. We're gonna get to that news in a second. But the president of the United States campaign had to give out $122 million in refunds because nearly 11% of the money it made was based on recurring funds that people didn't ask for. All right, check this out. You don't have to be an idiot to be in the Republican Party. But if you're an idiot, you're probably. Beginning last summer, the Trump campaign and the company that processes online donors, when Red, began to initiate the use of pre-check recurring payment boxes while processing online offerings. According to the report, unless donors inspected the fine print of an online disclaimer and manually unchecked an opt-out box, the donor's credit card would likely be charged weekly until election day had arrived. In the lead up to the election, the campaign made the disclaimer increasingly opaque and eventually added on a second pre-check box that automatically doubled the donor's contribution. These guys are crooks. Eventually, the financial institutions became inundated with fraud campaign complaints from the Trump supporters who unknowingly agreed to these recurring charges. According to the Times, Several banks and one of the nation's larger credit card companies confirmed that at one point in late 2020, these cases accounted for up to 3% of all fraud complaints received. Forbes has reached out to the Trump's representative for comment, but they did not immediately hear back. You don't have to be a scammer. You know, we can literally, I mean, it used to be a joke, man. You know, brothers and sisters in the hood used to always say, man, all politicians are crooks. We know one politician that was definitely a crook. And I mean, you know, this is a crucial quote from this article. This is Forbes magazine. Russell Blatt says it felt like a scam after his family realized that $3,000 had been withdrawn from the account of his brother Stacy, who was battling cancer and living on less than $1,000 per month. You gotta laugh, because if you don't, man, it's gonna make you cry. I mean, now there is something kind of awesome about a bunch of people donating to Trump getting frauded. Like, yeah, you know, you might morally, you might deserve it, but on the same token, like, some of them folks were innocent, man. They just don't know that they were just trying to support a person who was, you know, trying to destroy America. You know, a lot of the donors right there that was hit by that incident, they have a lot of racist tendencies. So I'm not that hurt, but I just find it funny. It's like Buddy on The Simpsons. Ha ha. You're now watching Clickbaity, Political Thirst Trap. You can find me, your host for tonight, Marcus for America, on Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find my dog, Woody Bobo, on Instagram. Please make sure y'all go follow my dog. You can follow Mondale Robinson on all social media platforms. Shout out to all of our supporters. Shout out to everybody who gave us support on Patreon. Shout out to everybody who gives us support on our podcast. Shout out for all the super chats that we get. That's right. There's Woody Bobo right there. Woo, them ATL sneakers dope as hell too. I ain't gonna front. I don't know who got them, but that was pretty tough right there. So, yeah, thank you for watching Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. We're not out. I'm not out. I'm just going to take a little break, but make sure you go to Patreon. Sign up for Patreon if you can, if you will. And if you don't want to do Patreon, then feel free to go and listen to us on our podcast. That's right. This show right here will be on a podcast on most major podcast streaming services. So make sure you go there, rate us very high. We need rates. We need rates. Hey, Trap Squad, real quick, just a real quick like survey. If you're in the trap room right now, have any of y'all listened to the podcast? Have you? Let me know. Let me know if you listen to the podcast. And with that being said, I'll be back in about a minute and 15 seconds. I'm gonna drink some water.
Trap Squad, 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 Trap Squad. Hey, Clickbaity political. Yeah, Thirst Trap, Trap Squad, Squirrel Squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Yeah. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent Clickbaity. Yeah. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, let me hear ya. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Thirst Trap, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, let me hear ya. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Thirst Trap, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad.
Oh, my producer is a nutcase, man. Shout out to Dwayne and Tunde. Done Right Media, man. If y'all need y'all media, any of your media needs, make sure that y'all go reach out to them brothers. Those brothers are dope. They are amazing. You know, as I think about the verses that was just last night, I can only imagine how many children were conceived that are like my age and maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 years before me. Because the Osley brothers, they've been making music since the 50s. You feel me? That's longevity, America. The 50s. You know, your grandma was knocking boots to the same group that you were knocking boots to. How about that? I have a weird tendency of grossing y'all out, don't I? Yeah, grandma got it in. How you think you got here? Oh, that's what's up, though. Shout out to the Osley brothers. There's a proper way to get it in. You know, there's a proper way to have fun between the sheets. Ooh, baby, baby. And then there's a wrong way. And my dog Paul Pierce, he did it the wrong way. Dwayne, just run that so our people can see one of my favorite basketball players of all time fuck up his life.
Come on, man. That's on you, bro. What would you do? What do you do? What's the fault?
Monica, you should be here. You could make some money, girl. Stop playing. Monica, what you doing?
You guys throw some fucking chips, man.
If you in LA, come through.
Chips, look down.
If you in LA, Monica, come through. You know what I'm saying?
Where's she at? Down there. Paying fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars, can't even throw a fucking chip.
Wait. I can't.
Hit me with chips. What is going on?
All right, Paul Pierce, NBA champion Paul Pierce. You know, I respect strippers. I respect people who work for sex. I think everybody should get paid. I think they should all have unions. Yeah. I think sex workers, whatever. I think it all should be legalized, and I think it all should be appreciated. But if you're Paul Pierce, who you are a married man, and you are working for the Mickey Mouse, you're working for the mouse, you're working at the Mouse House of ESPN, who's owned by the Disney company, then you know for a goddamn fact that you shouldn't be on Instagram like a rapper getting a massage with somebody twerking behind you, bro. The day before the day before you're supposed to be calling an NBA game. So ESPN fires Paul Pierce after Racy Wild video goes viral, and he was lit in that video too. But I got a question for y'all, Trap Squad, because I don't necessarily have the answer. My opinion hasn't necessarily been, I don't know, validated or invalidated yet. Like my opinion hasn't been created on this one. So I need the Trap Squad's help. Should Paul Pierce have been fired for having strippers at his house and gambling and, you know, somebody twerking on the floor behind him? Should he be fired for that? Should there be some kind of repercussion for? Is that the country that we live in right now? I've been to strip clubs. Don't get it twisted. I live in Atlanta. Strip clubs are a culture in Atlanta. People go to the strip clubs for chicken wings. You think I'm lying? Go to Magic City. People go to Magic City for chicken wings. Some of the best restaurants in America, in the whole city of Atlanta, are in strip clubs right here, right? And I'm not sitting here condoning his actions, right? But here's my thing: when is America post problematic in that way yet? Is America I don't know, post strip clubs yet, strippers yet? Are we at that place? Because I think it's coming.
But see, me and you can do that, Marcus. Like we can do that. We ain't getting paid.
I mean,
millions of
so and
dollars.
there's another question then. There's that. Thank you for saying that. If you saw Jamel Hill at a strip club with men doing their thing, does she get fired? Because there is a bit of misogyny in. I agree with you. There is a bit of misogyny in. And it's just a question that I want to ask. I don't have the answer for it, right? And if anybody claims that they have the answer for it, there's a counterpoint for all that stuff. Last time I went to a strip club, I saw more women in there throwing dollars than men, especially here in Atlanta. So, no, Chuck Diesel, we're not calling you. Nobody's calling you a male stripper. Are you a male stripper? We know we have a former male stripper that shows up to the show all the time, Darren Smith. He used to be a stripper called Delicious. Now he's working on the same platform. I mean, think about it. Eve, the rapper, is one of the most revered women in America, and she used to be a stripper. Is it cool to formally be a stripper and then do something else? Or formally be a porn star and do something else?
Yeah, America loves a good comeback story.
America loves a good comeback story, but how about the people putting themselves through college and paying their rent right now? I mean, to be honest with you, let's keep it 1,000 here. Like, first stripping during a pandemic is probably not the safest thing to do. You know, Cardi B is literally known as like America's darling right now, and she used to be a stripper.
But she's still a stripper.
But she doesn't work for Disney. Okay, I'll check this out.
Stripping on the Grammys.
She was basically stripping on the Grammys, right? But I mean, I think we do a whole bunch of judging, and I think, you know, if you work for the mouse, you might want to reconsider, because when you work for people's jobs and stuff like that, like, you're going to have to do what they tell you to do, and they probably have a certain standard of but on the same token, Disney's one of the most evil corporations in the history of mankind. So how can Disney talk to you about morality? Just my, you know, let's not forget the racist origins of Mickey Mouse and the white gloves. Howdy, hi. Yeah, I mean, public perception is a small world after all. They just started letting your black ass in Disney like a couple years ago. You know what I mean? So you know, we gotta have just real. I don't know. It might be a conversation for the future. Maybe 50 years from now, looking back on Paul Pierce getting fired for having strippers behind him will be not a big thing, right? So, ladies, if y'all like male strippers, then make sure you don't work for Disney and have them behind you dancing. And men, if you don't like, you know, if you want to keep your job at Disney, then we know better than to just go and have. Right now, that's where we are in society, and that's the only fact that we have about that.
But also, too, Marcus, you got to look at it like he would have been fine had he did all that in the comfort of his own home like he was doing and never put it on the internet.
No, he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do it publicly. But here's my thing, though. We talk about normalizing everything. Y'all, I'm about to get canceled, but fuck it, I'm going here. We talk about normalizing everything. Normalize taking paid days off. Normalize voting. Normalize some of the most things that 10 years ago nobody would ever even think about normalizing. We're in a day and age where you know, we have to introduce our pronouns before we speak. We're in a day and age where if you shun, and you should be shunned and shamed on seeing people who seeing a LGBTQIA couple kiss in public or on the film, if you say something about it, you can get canceled, and you rightfully should get canceled. So I guess my question is, when do we normalize, if we normalize, or should we normalize sex work? Should there be what's the limit? Where's the stopping point?
that things should be normalized, which they should, but Disney's not on the forefront of that, right? Disney's trailing behind. Always.
I mean,
right?
I don't see Mickey twerking nowhere.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So of course they're not on the forefront of that battle. They're just going wherever they think the people are going. Right. So they see everybody moving to the left and be like, oh, okay, we're with everything now. We're with LGBTQ rights. We're with,
man, my mama in the chat room, y'all.
Uh-oh.
See, now I gotta stop talking about it. Thank you. Now we're gonna change topics. What's the next topic? And she in the chat room thanking y'all.
It's been a break.
Great show. Somebody talk about Mickey as a hoe. What strip club have you been to and where, and did you record it? No, I'm not recording it because I like not having, I own my own business, so you really can't fire me, but I like not having that problem. I mean, I think it was a bad move. Let me be 1,000. I think it was a bad move for him to put himself out there like that. But on the same token, it's man, we firing people for having strippers behind them, and we're not firing people, and we're not arresting people for storming the Capitol. I don't know. Maybe I'm just worried about what real problems are. I don't know. But if you're on the Disney, Paul Pierce, you shouldn't have did that. I would have, and if I was one of his friends, I probably would have, and you got to surround yourself by people who care about you.
Yep. He should have somebody in his circle that's no, give me your phone, man. No.
Yeah, yes, somebody should have been in it. Somebody should have been in his circle. Like, yo, Paul, bruh, no. You got, man, bro, you're in LA right now because you got to do a game tomorrow. What are you doing with it? Now, okay, as much as I just asked the question about normalizing strip clubs, sex workers, and all that stuff, let me also say this right here. I am going to be the friend that stops you from recording yourselves as strippers are in the house. Come on, man. You got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. And your friends should have stopped you also and been like, Paul, dude, no, man, erase that, delete that, get that off the internet right now. Oh, a little bit more celebrity news, and this is from a sadder front. One of the best rappers of all time, DMX, reportedly hospitalized after a drug overdose. DMX, the dog, was hospitalized Friday night after suffering a heart attack that was triggered by an apparent drug overdose. And this is from TMZ. After overdosing in his home around 11 p.m., DMX was rushed to a hospital in White Plains, New York. He is currently in the critical care unit. A source close to the family tells TMZ that the 50-year-old rapper has some brain activity. Another source says that he's in a vegetative state, and doctors have cautioned he might not make it. DMX has battled substance abuse for years, checking into a rehab facility in October 2019, less than 9 months after he was released from prison on tax evasion charges. Several of X's peers in the hip-hop community also took to social media to share their support, including Rick Ross, T.I., Missy Elliott, and Ja Rule. Shake back, big bro. We made plans, man. We got shit to do, T.I. wrote. We laughed so hard about how far we made it in life this night. I appreciate you so much for pulling up and checking on a nigga. So I'm now telling you, like he told me, this shall too pass. Prayers up from DMX. And that's from T.I. We're not gonna bring up his issues right now. You got to, he's getting shots out from Ross, Missy, the whole music world. So, I'm hoping that DMX, and I mean, listen, I don't know if you guys kept up with it, but watching DMX's drug struggle has been motivating because, we've also seen him openly pray, whether you're a person of faith or a Christian person or not, but we've seen him openly pray, trying to find some solitude and trying to find an extra spiritual sense of help to keep him strong so he can avoid his addictions. right? So, drug usage and drug abuse is a sickness. We need to take people seriously when they reach out. We need to surround ourselves with people who have our best interest in mind. And we need to check in on our folks, man. We need to check in on our folks. That is that simple. We need to check in on our folks to make sure. We need to check in on our folks to make sure that they're always okay and they're living life as best as they possibly can, and give people patience and give people time, right? And also, be a helping hand. If you know someone who has a drug, problem or suicidal, there's places that you can call and contact. Make sure you do that. Make sure you and don't be afraid to actually be the person in the room who's willing to have the tough conversation. Don't empower people to do drugs. Don't empower them and to make them feel cool, no matter what status it is in life. And what I realized about some things is some folks with money, when I see people with money who have drug issues, and I know a lot of people with money who have a lot of drug issues, folks around them empower them. Because either they want some of the drugs, they want to have a good time, or, they're afraid to tell that person the truth. There's a very famous person that I know that I was in his studio one time, and he was doing too many drugs. And he was making bad music while he was doing too many drugs. And nobody in his entourage was telling him that your music sucks right now because you're too high. He was feeling himself. I'm not going to say the person's name, but he was just feeling himself so much. And all the folks around him just kept giving him drugs, more and more drugs. And then they kept saying, whenever he would finish a track, they would say, "Oh, that's hot right there. That's it. That's the one." And I'm in the back like, "Oh, man, that shit sucks." Like, bro, you're slurring on the microphone right now. So he messed around and went around the room and said, "You think that's hot?" And he went to every single person. And when it got to me, I said, "No, I think I don't think it's that hot, and I think you're too high to make music right now." Let's just say I haven't seen that person since.
But you was the good friend in that situation, trying to look out for the brother.
Yeah, I was a good friend. I was a good friend in that situation that was looking out for this multi-platinum selling rap artist who, who had just dropped something and he was just so lit that, I was just like, dude, I couldn't allow myself to not tell him that, because I liked the guy so much that I just couldn't tell him, "Man, dog, that shit is horrible." So be that person. If you got to lose a friend, try to save them. If you got to lose a friend, or you got to lose a person that whether they're famous or not, or it's your brother or your sister, or your mom or your dad, be that voice in the room, man. Don't be afraid to be that voice that says, "Dude, stop. You got a problem. You're killing us. You're stealing all the shit. You're doing all the drugs. You're stealing money. I can't trust you to, you're lying about things. Things wind up missing. Why is everybody trying to figure out who it is? The trap room, for people on the podcast who listen to this, the trap room, the chat room, is literally trying to figure out who the person is. I will never tell you guys in 1,000 years. And he's gotten his life much better since that moment.
Somebody said Dust Lord.
Somebody said Dust Lord. Damn, Dust Lord, they're getting on you like that. You ain't even pop yet like that, homie. No, it wasn't. No, it was not anybody who was ever on this show.
I was about to say, too, they don't put that up there.
Yeah, don't you put that up there. Y'all are ridiculous, man. Y'all are ridiculous. The Trap Squad is literally ridiculous. What else we got? We got some more news in here. I think we got some more news. No, we don't. We don't have any more news. Yes, we do.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, you got a question for me? What's the question?
Who you got tonight, Gonzaga or Baylor? game.
The game's on right now, right? Gonzaga and Baylor is on right now. First, oh yeah, let's do this real quick. What am I doing? And I'm by myself. I can talk as much sports ball as I want to. The most amazing NCAA basketball game happened this weekend. God, can we find that clip? I'll talk about it. Can we find the clip, please?
Yep.
Gentlemen.
For me for a minute.
Yes, listen. Gonzaga versus UCLA. Well, first, this has been the most amazing basketball tournament ever. And I'm going to, preference this with the statement saying that the NCAA is one of the last vesticles of blatant capitalism where they're utilizing black bodies, and black kids, right? I do suggest that if you can go pro, go pro. If you got a nephew, a niece, or uncle, or anybody who's really good in high school basketball and they're 18 years old and somebody says to them they need to go to college and they don't have to go to college, don't go to college. Go straight to the pros. You're gonna make more in your first year on a rookie contract. And this ain't for everybody. Now, if you're not gonna get drafted, don't declare for the pros. But if you are good enough to go pro, don't touch a college campus. Because you're going to make enough money in your first year to pay for all of your college later on down the road. Get that bag. Get that bag because the NCAA is not doing everything that they possibly can to protect your interest. I got a story about Chris Webber. This was in the Fab Five book. Chris Webber was one of the hottest college basketball players in history at Michigan. He was a part of the Fab Five. Him, Juwan Howard, a few other guys. They were Jalen Rose, right? They were an amazing, amazing team. And they had just got finished beating, I want to say, North Carolina during the regular season. And Chris Webber was walking home, and he was looking for somebody to borrow $20 from so he can get something to eat. And he was having this conversation with a fan, another student, in front of the campus bookstore. And guess what they had in front of the campus bookstore while he's having this conversation about borrowing $20? His jersey. His number 4 jersey was in the bookstore, and it was selling for $60. He is borrowing money to eat. And his jersey was right there in the bookstore selling for $60. If you can go pro, go pro. But besides the nasty stuff, there's also a lot of intercollegiate spirit in the NCAA. And this is one of the moments, these bright, shining moments that they talk about. We got the volume on this right here?
No, I'm not going to play the audio because I don't want us to get.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, there's a very small amount of time, and boom. In the last second, the guard from Gonzaga hits I want to say a 50-footer. He was just inside the line to go to the final game of the NCAA to go against Baylor. So now it's going to be Gonzaga and Baylor tonight. And I'm going to say like this right here. My money's on Baylor. My money's only on Baylor because I haven't seen undefeated teams always crack. And if they're that good, then they deserve it. But undefeated teams always crack. And I think that Gonzaga used up all their magic in that shot right there. I don't know how much magic you can have left. But we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, listen, hold on. I'm gonna get out of here. It's 235 people, man. I'm gonna get out of here, and I appreciate everybody for watching Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap. We're gonna have some news for you guys this week. We might be taking a little small break, but that's because brothers got to go do vacation and work and do other stuff. But we're slowly growing. Make sure that you like and share and subscribe. Subscribe to the page. Go over to the Facebook page. The Clickbaity Cafe is probably one of the funnest places on the internet. And we've created this family over there on Facebook, even though Facebook's the evil empire, and we need to figure out how they said they were going to stop donating to Republican campaigns. And they're still and this was on January 11th, they said because of January 6th that they were going to stop donating to Republican campaigns. And then they gave a $25,000 or $50,000 check to the Republican Lieutenant Governors Association. Like, that's not Republicans. So, you know, they went back and they reneged on their thing. And it's just it's interesting to me how much Facebook does wrong. And how much some of us utilize their services. I mean, it's like you have the NAACPs and, you know, National Action Networks and all these organizations that are on Facebook using their platform. And it's almost like every single time you post on Facebook, the evil empires are just reading your plans and writing it down. Like, yeah, we're going to stop that. Yeah, we need to donate against that. You know, so anyway, go over to Facebook because going back to it, go over to the Clickbaity Cafe and the Facebook if you're not there yet. It is a fun space full of very, very, very awesome Trap Squad Squirrel Gang members. And subscribe, send us a super chat. And other than that, I'll be back tomorrow night. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a very awesome person who watches our show and listens to our show on our podcast. We'll try to do it every night. Free Black men doing their thing, speaking, bringing good people on to talk about the good work that's going on in America and all the trials and tribulations that folks try to put us through. But liberation ain't easy. Anyway, peace out. It's been a good night.
Trap Squad, 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 Trap Squad. Hey, Clickbaity political. Yeah, Thirst Trap, Trap Squad, Squirrel Squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Yeah. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent Clickbaity. Yeah. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad. Let me hear ya. Trap Squad, Trap Squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap Squad, Trap Squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad. ThirstTrap, Trap Squad, Trap Squad, Trap Squad. Let me hear ya. Trap Squad, Trap Squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap Squad, Trap Squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap Squad.